My name is Raven Miller, and I served in Cardiff, Wales. I went to Falls Creek, and there's a girl on the video, and she had been to Cardiff, Wales before. And she said something that just really stirred me. She said, it's not stay until you're called to go, it's go until you're called to stay. And it was really something that I've been putting off. I felt like, I needed to go, but I've been putting it off for different reasons, and so that just kind of pushed me into there. The people of Wales are really not too different than the people here. Wales is a post-Christianity nation. Post-Christianity, a preacher that I got to talk to while I was over there said it very well. About 50-60 years ago in Wales, there was a movement, and basically what happened is people stopped going to church. They quit taking their kids to church. They just stopped. They weren't interested in it anymore. And so now you have all these people that have not heard about Jesus because there's been 50-60 years of people that have not gone to church, and there's not been people that have gone out and reached them. In the city that I was in, it's like 230,000 people, and a huge congregation there is about 23 people. I had a really unique experience while I was at Wells. There's a little girl there where we were at a park that was just outside of a Catholic school, and you would think, being in a Catholic school, that they would kind of know who Jesus was, but that really wasn't the case. But there was this group of kids that would come, and they were kind of rambunctious. The ones that were dumping over, trash cans and stuff like that. But there was this girl that God just really laid on my heart to talk to. She's about 12 years old. So I went and tried to start up a conversation with her. She just totally blew me off. Did not want to have anything to do with me. Started calling me names and stuff, and so I just continued prayer walking and stuff, and decided that I was going to try it again the next day. Well, the next day she didn't show up. The next day she came, and we talked a little bit. It was nothing major, but she was at least talking to me. And the very last day that we were there, she was on the playground. She was with a group of kids, and had discovered that our group was not going to be coming back anymore. And she came up and she gave me a hug, and she said, "I'm so sad that you're leaving." I was like, what? And she, wanted to get my address and phone number and stuff, and so we exchanged that. I was able to send a Bible home with her, but it was just neat to see, just in a matter of days, how, this conversation that really didn't start off very well blossomed into something a little bit bigger.
My name is Yoon, but most people call me Angela. I was born in a small village in China outside of the town of Shanxi. I grew up with my older sister and younger brothers. We were so poor. No one cared how many children we had. The poor always have more children, it seems, so the parents can have someone to take care of them when they are older. It doesn't always work out like that, though. Many times, no matter how many children you have or how hard you work, you always seem to be just getting by. No one really cares for the poor. No one sees us, for there are so many of us that we cannot hide. No one understands what it is that we go through on a day-to-day basis. That's why I had to write this, to let people know what life in China is like when you are not rich. And almost all of us are not rich. When I say rich, you have to understand that even the poor in the United States of America are richer than the poor in China. That is why when we come here, we find it so amazing that people only work 8 hours a day. In China, when you're poor, after 8 hours of work, you're ready for your lunch break. No one likes it like this, of course. When I first came here 8 years ago, I was extremely happy to work like I had worked back home, because I knew that when I came home I could bathe The water just came, and it was even hot. This was exciting to me. I was very happy. You may find this strange. No one would never abandon the ones they love and travel across the ocean to find a new life unless they knew that they were going to succeed. You must know that I love my children. They are my very soul, and I love my mother and my father. They are very hard workers, very loving, but also very tired. I send them as much money as I can every month, and they are using it to buy clothes for my children and put food on the table. It was a hard decision, but in my heart, I know that it was worth it. I love them very much. My life is a living sacrifice. I suffer so that they might live. Many of my father's generation has suffered poverty their whole lives, and many are gone. Often the elderly are found hanging from the rafters early in the mornings, having committed suicide so as not to become burdens to their families any longer. I do not want to see my parents in such a way. I do not want my children to grow up watching me do that. That is why I am here. As a child, I remember hearing stories that in the mid-1960s the land suffered such a terrible drought that for 3 years all there was to eat was the leaves on the trees, and eventually the trees themselves. When I learned that my parents had harvested wild grass like they had harvested rice only years before, I was shocked. A new respect grew in my heart when I would watch my father come home late after sunset, only knowing that he would be leaving for work early before sunrise, with only getting a few hours rest. He did this every day of every year just to bring home what would be $200 here. Many people here make that in 1 week, or 1 day, or 1 hour. My children work, though thankfully not as much as I worked as a child. At a young age, when my parents could afford it, I went to school. I did not attend every year, but I went faithfully when I could. I was 6 years old, remembering the 2-mile walk to school. During lunch, we were made to go home, as the school did not have cafeteria, and I had no lunch provisions. I would walk home every day and eat rice. We had no oil and no salt, so we would have to eat what we harvested that day. After lunch, I would walk back for the second part of the day. When school was over, I would walk home and work with my family for the remainder of the day. It was sad when I started working full-time at age 13. I did miss school and my friends, but I was helping my family, so I felt more satisfied when I pondered this. I do not want to tell you that in China, when you are sick, you may end up dying on the front steps of the hospital. 90% of the people are poor. 10% are well-to-do. You would call the 10% poor here. But in China, they are the elite, and only the elite can afford medicine, or a caste, or a grave. My name is Yoon, but most people call me Angela. I am a Chinese immigrant. This is my story. The money that I make here will be sent back to my family so they might live. My dream is to build a school in my hometown and perhaps a doctor's clinic. I do not want to become rich. I only ask that you listen to my story. I need your business. Thanks. God bless you.